Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Orphea and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a variety of nose to ear chains. As some of you know, I used to make nose to ear chains and sell them on my Etsy. Now this became a little bit unmanageable with both my full-time job and the other things I wanted to do in my free time. So today's video is going to be a tutorial on how to make some of the designs that I used to sell. Now the main ones that everyone bought from me were the simple chain ones, and they are actually the easiest to make. I will also be showing you how to make the beaded ones and how I made my spike nose to ear chains. And should you have any questions at all at the end of the video, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get started. First things first, let's have a look at my jewelry box. This is actually everything I have left, and for these projects you might need chains, eye pins, beads, jump rings, clasps to attach it to your piercing, etc. You will also need a few pliers. So I have wire cutters. I have two types of pliers, one that are flat nose, one that are round nose pliers, and then another type of flat nose pliers that I also like to use. And that's basically all you need. So you don't really need a lot to make nose change, but you do need like the supplies to get started. And for each project I'm gonna show you exactly what you need. And something that I find very practical is also having a tape measure so you know how long they are. The first one I'm gonna show you how to make is a chain, nose to ear chain, so simply made out of a piece of chain. You will need chain for this, obviously. You will also need jump rings. You might need a tiny clasp and a earring attachment. For pliers and cutters you will need, of course, wire cutters so you can cut the chain to the length you want, and then you can use a variety of flat nose and round nose pliers to open and close the jump rings. You will also need something to measure the distance, so that's why I have my tape measure. First thing I like to do is put my little stopper onto my earring hooks. It's just something that I prefer doing, and then untangle and find the start of the chain. Now you want to add 1 centimeter to the length that you will be cutting to get the total length of your nose chain. So I personally always aim for a total of more or less 13 centimeters. So here you can't really see it, but I'm cutting right between 11 and 12, so I can still add the findings and have 13 centimeters of total length, more or less. Now you will take your jump rings and you will open them correctly, not by pulling on them, but by bending it open, as you can kind of see here. Now on one side you want to attach the earring hook, and on the other side, as you will see me do in a moment, you want to attach the clasp or a second jump ring so you can attach it to your piercing. Now I personally really love these chain nose to ear chains. They are the easiest to make, but they were also the ones that I sold most of on my Etsy store. And they are of course super easy to make to any length you wish. I also want to show you how to make a double chain nose to ear chain, and this is almost as simple as a single one. The first step is exactly the same. You measure off a bit of chain of about 11 centimeters, or at least that's what works for my face, and then you will take a second piece which is at least a centimeter longer so it will hang nicely. So I will take between 12 and 13 centimeters. So measure the chain and cut it off. Of course you can make these as long or as short as you want, depending on the length you need for your face. Now the next step is taking these pieces of chain and connecting them. So I use a jump ring on each side to connect them, and then onto that jump ring I will attach either the earring hook or the clasp. And I like to try to have the least tangles possible in my chain, so I will always straighten it out first before attaching the other side. So again, take a jump ring to attach the two pieces of chain together, and then take an extra jump ring onto that jump ring to attach the clasp, or another jump ring to attach to your piercing. And this is what they look like completely finished. This is the way I like to make mine, with a tiny clasp. You can make them as long or as short as you want. And I also quickly wanted to show you how I personally attach my charms to a nose to ear chain. For my standard length ones, so the normal ones, I will actually just take a jump ring and a charm and attach it to the middle of the piece of chain that I'm using. I find generally this works best with the placement on the cheek, etc. It's all up to personal preference where you want it to hang, how long, how short your chain is, and how many pendants you want hanging from it. So just have fun with it. And this is a very easy way to make it a little less plain. And here are some pictures of me wearing my nose to ear chains. This was a single golden one, a double silver one, and then my custom ankh one. Project number 2 are beaded nose to ear chains, and to make these you will need eye pins, of course, beads, and a bunch of them, and you can see me scatter my beads everywhere. I'm gonna use for today's project both red and black beads. Now you can use any beads you want. I personally prefer using 4mm either round beads or bicone beads. I'm using bicone beads today, and you will need about 13. Now I say about because I like my length of my nose chains to be about 13 centimeters in total, and generally speaking, when I make these onto eye pins, they tend to be 1 centimeter each. So I say more or less 13, but it could be 11, it could be 15, depending on how long or how short it needs to be for you. So the first thing I do is assemble my beads and make the design that I want. So I want to alternate black and red beads, and then I will just start taking the eye pins. Now the eye pins that I use are a tiny bit too big. I find that generally a fingernail's length is enough for me to make the loop that I need to attach it to the next one. So I will measure off using my finger how much I need to cut from the eye pin. So you just simply cut it open and then you will start making the loop. And I found the best way to do this is to bend it backwards to yourself, as you will see me do about here, and then start making the loop from the end of the piece, as you will see me do now. And this is actually a bit out of focus, a bit out of frame, but it is the easiest way for me personally to do this. And I will show you once again really slowly how to do this. So you take the eye pin, you put a bead on, then you measure the length of your finger or of your fingernail more or less, and then you cut off the excess. So it's only a few millimeters, but it does make a big difference in how big the loop will be. So then you apply it backwards to yourself, so you get a nice angle, and then you will twist it to make the loop. And you need your round nose pliers for this. Once you are done putting all the beads onto eye pins, it is time to take your earring hook and prepare it. Also take 2 jump rings and of course the attachment, which for me is a tiny clasp. And then we're gonna start just assembling this thing. So you will take your beads, you will gently ply open one of the 2 loops and you will attach the other bead to that loop. And you will continue doing this until you've attached all of them together. So that's what we're gonna do here. So you gently open it and then you ply it back closed. And it's important you do this the same way you made them earlier, so you don't fracture the metal or make it less solid, etc. So you open it the same way you closed it previously and then you bend it back closed. And you don't need to open it very much in order for it to attach. Now I am making a alternating pattern, but if you're only using black beads or other beads, you can just do whatever. Once you have attached all the pieces, it is time to attach once more the earring hook and the tiny clasp. So you bend open a jump ring, you attach it to the piece you just made, and then the other piece of course to the other side so you can wear it easily. And at some point you'll either make something that is too long or too short. You will either notice this by wearing it, or if you know the measurement, by measuring it. So here I am measuring my nose to ear chain, and I see that I made it actually way too long, for my personal preference at least. I like mine to be between 13 and 15 centimeters, so I decided to take out 2 beads. Now, because the way my pattern was, this really didn't interfere with it, but you can also change up the pattern of the beads that you're using, or if you're just using one style of beads, it's even easier. But you simply bend open the jump ring and remove the beads, and then bend it back together with the attachment. And this is what it then looks like. Now I also want to show you a few pictures of my personal favorite nose to ear chain, which is my regular black beads round bead one. And then finally, I also want to show you how I make my spike nose to ear chains. Now these spikes are a little bit trickier to find because I did have to purchase them from a particular store. I also use beads for this, of course eye pins, because the beads have to go onto something. You will again need an earring hook, also some jump rings and a tiny clasp to attach it to your piercing. Now there are 2 different types of spikes. You can see one of the spikes can actually be beaded the same way you would a normal bead onto a eye pin. The other ones I use very big jump rings for. And I quickly wanted to show you how I put these spikes onto the eye pins. So you actually do the exact same thing as you would do for a bead, except that here you are beading on a spike. I really like this style, but for this purpose of this video, I'm gonna make a nose to ear chain with the other ones. And here is a few completed pictures. It's actually the second one that is made with these smaller spikes, and the first one we're gonna make together today. So to make the what I used to call the big spikes nose to ear chain, you will need to bead on your beads. So you will do the exact same as for a regular beaded one. You will cut off a tiny bit if your eye pin is too long, and then you will make a loop so you can put them all together. And this time we're gonna go a little bit faster than in the previous ones, so I'm just showing you one. If you want to see this more into detail, go to the previous part of the video where I show you in detail how to do this a little bit better. So I will aim for about 5 to 7 beads, and then I will see how many I end up using. I think here I kind of measured it out or looked at my previous design to see what I needed to do. So once you have beaded on all of the beads, you will start looking at the jump rings. So as you can see here, I have rather large jump rings, and I can actually bend them open just by using my fingers. So we'll put a spike and then 2 beads, and this is the start of your nose chain. And then of course you want to continue putting on more and more to make a total chain. So again, I'm going to try and focus you a little bit better. You will take one of these large jump rings. They are 8 millimeter. You will bend it open, and then you will take a spike and a bead and you will attach it to the part you've already made. So just bend it open. You can also do this with pliers, but I just find it easier doing it with my hands. And here is where I should have taken the other side. So you can see me kind of struggle here and trying to figure out what the hell I did wrong, but I just needed to attach it to the other side. So actually there is a tiny bit easier way to do this, and I will show you this in a moment when I'm done fixing this one. So again, take a jump ring, and then you will actually already attach it to the other bead that is already on there just with the spike. And then afterwards you will put on the extra bead to make it a full link, and this actually works best. So if you're trying to figure out the best method, this is it. So now that we've assembled all the pieces that I think are necessary, we'll take again our jump rings, our earring hook and our tiny clasp, and we'll attach them to this chain so we can actually wear it. And again, bend open your rings, don't pull them open. It's better for them, it's better for you, and they will damage less easily. And finally, make sure to measure your piece. If you're not gonna wear it yourself, this is very important, and I just like to do this to make sure that I am within the restrictions of the length. And here are some pictures of me wearing my spike, nose to ear chains, and also showing you the difference between a clasp and a ring attachment. So these were the types of nose to ear chains that I personally used to make and sell on my Etsy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you did. Should you still have any questions at all, feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I will be linking in the description box another Etsy seller who makes amazing nose to ear chains if you don't feel like making your own. She's called Ayame Designs and she's one of my personal close friends. So if you don't feel like making your own, go ahead and have a look at what she makes. She also makes gorgeous other jewelry pieces such as earrings, necklaces, head chains, body chains, etc. It's absolutely amazing, and you will be seeing more of her on my channel in the future. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!